This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening. I'd like to call the June 9th, 2022 regular meeting of the North Haven Board of Education to order at 6:30 p.m. Tonight, I'm honored to say that joining our meeting this evening is Peter Balaschino. Peter is a 2022 graduate of the Hamden North Haven Adult Education Program. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to congratulate you on this accomplishment and present you with your North Haven Class of 2022 t-shirt. And in addition, I have a citation for you from Representative Dave Yaccarino and State Senator Paul Ciccarella, who could not be here. Dave is recovering from COVID, but they asked me to bring this to you and read it. Excuse me. Here is your t-shirt. And these t-shirts were donated by the North Haven Education Foundation. And it has our new mascot on it, the Nighthawk. So thank you. And I think for you, this is probably apropos. We have the Nighthawk looking to the past and the stars going to the future. Mm-hmm. And as a graduate, you're looking to the future.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. And State of Connecticut General Assembly, an official citation introduced by Representative David Yaccarino and Senator Paul Ciccarella. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Peter P. Balaschino in recognition of receiving your honorary high school diploma from the North Haven Board of Education and your ongoing commitment to earn your GED through Hamden Adult Education. With boundless gratitude, we thank you for your honorable service in World War II and the Korean War.
Not World War II.
Did they write that? I'll have them correct that. In the Korean world from a grateful state and our nation. We send our best wishes to you in your goal to obtain your GED and all of your endeavors. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorial occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given this, the 26th day of May 2022 at the state capitol in Hartford, Connecticut. And back to our regular part of the meeting, we have our consent agenda. We have the May 12, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting minutes. Retirement of Annette Sauerbrunn, RN, the nurse for the North Haven Middle School. Kathy Johnson, math teacher at North Haven High School. Lee Latta, math and Chinese teacher at North Haven High School. The resignation of Delilah Falcon, our special education teacher at Ridge Road School. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the retirements of Annette Sauerbrunn, Kathy Johnson, Lee Latta, and the resignation of Delilah Falcon?
So moved.
Second?
Michelle?
Any discussion? I just want to put in there about Annette. Annette and I have known each other for a very long time. Our kids went to school together, and she has always been involved in the school system as a parent, as a PTA, and then as a nurse in our school system. And I want to thank her for all that she has done.
Thank you so much.
Kathy Johnson, for those that don't know, was the Interact advisor for our students for the Rotary Club. So she worked with the students and the Rotary Club, and they did a lot of volunteering, and she organized that very, very well. Along with Ellie Mulligan, they had our kids come to wherever we needed them to volunteer, they were there. So I wish Kathy well. And Lee Lata, in my job, I go to China, or pre-pandemic, I've been to China several times. So Ms. Lata had invited me to her class for a Chinese celebration about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was just really, really nice, so I appreciate that. I don't know Ms. Falcon, but the 3 that are retiring, I just wanted to give a little bit of memory of them from what I knew. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We wish them all well. Next is our Board of Education Student Representative Report. Alex, will you go first, or Zena? Okay.
Seniors have had quite an eventful past month. We had a wonderful senior prom on May 20th and a senior outing at Holiday Hill on June 3rd, so those were super fun.
Zena? I'm going to ask you to talk into the mic because I can't hear you. I know may not be comfortable, but if you can pull it down.
It's only for the camera. It's not.
Okay.
So.
All right. If you can just talk a little louder.
Okay. I was saying that seniors have had quite an eventful past month. We had a wonderful senior prom on May 20th and a senior outing at Holiday Hill on June 3rd. Senior awards were held on May 25th in the school auditorium, and they were recognized for their academic achievements in each department, as well as their service in the school community. And just finally, finals begin tomorrow for seniors and next week for the rest of the high school, so good luck to all of them on finishing off the academic year pretty strong.
Thank you. And before you go on, Alex, I want to congratulate you, Zena, on your Scholar Athlete Award today. I read that, so congratulations on that. Alex?
The junior award ceremony occurred 2 weeks ago and was a success. On the athletic side, spring banquets were a success, and the football team is preparing for its annual spring ball tomorrow night. That's really it from the junior side.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Are you going to continue with your charity over the summer?
Yep.
Great. Thank you. And thank you both for your time on the board this year. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Board of Education Parent Representative reports. Is anyone here? Here.
We are co-PTA presidents for the council, Jennifer Hearing and Kristen Cohen.
Yeah, sure. So we had our last meeting of the year last night. Ellie thanked all of the schools and the PTAs for all of their contributions over the course of the year from the NAGA. And Patrick Lawrence was actually able to attend our meeting last night. That was his first big appearance, and that was awesome. He was able to talk with everybody about, the coordinator for inclusion, diversity, and equity, working with all the schools, working with the teachers, anti-bias groups, diversity groups, SEL, and advisory committees. Going to work over the summer with the district to continue working on all of it, getting a lot of district support, and he's really excited to work with all of us and all of you.
Thank you.
Yep. And we also voted in 2 new board members, which we are really excited about because council is not really known throughout the district. So we're just thrilled that there are new people that we were able to recruit to come on board. One of them we have known for years. She's a Ridge Road 5th grade parent who's now going to be middle school parent. And the other one is a Monowese parent of an incoming kindergartner and 1st grader. So that just really is exciting because typically council gets parents of older children, and so it's great to have parents of younger children too. So it's Patricia Gagliardi is going to be our vice president, and Katya Vetroff is going to be our secretary. We also just got a quick update from all the elementary schools, middle school, and high school, just that all of the end of year activities are going on as planned. We're kind of back to pre-COVID times where they're doing recognition and field days and all of that, which is great. And then something really special to me, and I know to Alex too, is that we received some donated money in my mother's name. She passed away in the fall, and we as council were able to match that for unfortunate passing of Brian Lazat, who was our secretary for council. So we decided as a council that we would make a donation to Morgan Lakes in Bill 30. So that I find to be very exciting. So that's it.
Thank you. Okay, so now we come to the report of the Board of Education Chair or designee, but I'm going to do it myself. Jen Ciccarelli could not be here tonight. I'd like to take this time to thank Jen for her 9+ years on the Board of Education. Jen will be stepping down from the board effective July 1st. Jen brought an unmeasurable wealth of education experience and input into our policies and decision-making to this board. And we are grateful for the work and time she has contributed to the board and the North Haven Public Schools. So thank you, Jen, and we'll be in touch. With that said, it is with conflicting emotions that after about 14 years, I too will be resigning from the Board of Ed effective July 1. I never expected when Mr. Frieda had asked me to fill a vacant position about 14 years ago that I'd still be on this board in 2022. I thank Mr. Frieda for offering that to me. I thank him for his advice, what his comments, what he told me would be rewarding. And thank him for the opportunity and the support to me and this board as chair. There are many people who have helped me when I first joined the board and became chairperson. I know I will forget some people's names, but these people really were instrumental, I think, in guiding me to become a board member and a good chair. And they include Dr. Mary Jane Sheehy, the late Pat Brozak, our former superintendent, Dr. Cronin, whose compassion for others and wit always kept me smiling, Joyce Laprie, our administrative assistant, who has kept me on task with her institutional knowledge and knowledge of this district is invaluable, and always reminding me I had to come in to sign papers. And I also want to thank a former board member, Alicia Clapp. Alicia told me from my very first day on the board that it's all about students. And as long as you never lose sight of that, you'll do fine. And it was advice that I've done my best to follow and feel happy and confident that I did. I also need to thank my husband and my family for their support over their years. Their support and encouragement really saw me through some of the difficult challenges we faced as a board, with our understanding, even my husband's humor. Just yesterday he said he felt like he was resigning from the board too.
I might be behind the scenes, but you know, behind every strong woman needs strong support.
Thank you. And to this public, this group of people sitting here at this table are among the best we could have representing our community as members of the Board of Ed. Their passion, perseverance, and dedication to the school community never wavers. Each one of them comes to this board, to this table with one agenda only: educating and providing services needed so all of our students become well-rounded contributors to society as students and then moving on as global citizens. And this board does this by providing our teachers and educators with the best possible tools and resources so that each student is able to reach their full potential. There is so much that goes on with the making of a board, and the volunteering time and the time from this group has been unbelievable. I will miss collaborating with this group. I am grateful for the friendship we have established, which goes beyond the boardroom. I hold both Patrick, our superintendent, and Melinda McKenna. I wrote Melissa, that's my colleague at work, to the highest standards as leaders of our district. We've had some very tough times in the last few years. They never let me down. As a team and individually, you both go above and beyond for this district, and in many cases at the expense of your own family time. Your professionalism and commitment to our students, their families, and our teachers and administration never wavers. I know it sounds cliche and doesn't sound like me, but it has been an honor to work together and do the work that we have done, so thank you. I know you will continue to work for the betterment, Randy, is that a word? Betterment? Okay. Of our students, educators, family, and community. I'm leaving this board knowing that that this board and the new members that will be appointed will continue the good nonpartisan work we have been doing to develop responsible, educated, and productive students in our ever-changing world. So with that, I wish you all kindness and peace. Thank you. So next we need to go to the report of our standing committees. ACES?
Unfortunately, I was not able to make the ACES meeting, so I will give an update once I get the meeting minutes in our August meeting.
North Haven Education Foundation?
I could report.
Yep.
The Education Foundation met on Wednesday. They had a very successful trivia night at the end of April, so they were obviously very excited about that. They raised, I think, around $14,000, I believe, and they're planning for future events as well as reviewing some grants from teachers around the district.
And again, I'd like to thank the North Haven Education Foundation for donating the t-shirts to the senior class. I understand they all had them for their class picnic last week. So thank you for that. Curriculum instruction and planning, I missed that one.
Joe has it.
So, as Mrs. McKenna shared last month, Curriculum and Instruction Committee met on May 12th, and we discussed the high school job spot and the elementary math pilot proposal. There is no meeting this month. The committee will schedule a meeting for August to get us back up and going with the start of school. And if I could deviate for one quick minute, I don't think it can go unsaid. Since the day I came on this board, you've been the chairperson. Before I came on the board, and since I've been on the board, you've been very clear that we are here because to serve the students. That's our only focus, not politics, nothing else, best interest of the students. So what you said about our mission is most definitely related to your leadership, so thank you very much.
Policy. So our first information on policy is the couple of things. We have the approval of the policy regarding the prohibition say the word? Of sex discrimination and sexual harassment in the workplace for personnel. So I know we all looked at that, may I have we had our second read. We had our second read. So may I have a motion to approve the policy regarding prohibition of sex discrimination and sexual harassment in the workplace?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the approval read of the student dress policy. You can read it or?
No.
No. So may I have a motion to approve the student dress policy?
So,
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I would just want to say thank you very much for the changes that were made to the dress code policy. I'm very happy with where we landed, and I just appreciate the collaboration on this. I think it's going to be really good moving forward.
I think it is too. We all came
Yeah.
to a good consensus.
And we met out there when it was nice out in the fall. That was nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Sorry.
Okay, okay, so you know how this goes. We have one opposed. So how this works, when we do have someone opposed, we go and vote, have each person speak their vote out loud. Marie?
Yes.
Ron?
Yay.
Eleni? Amanda? Yes. Joe?
Nay.
yay.
Okay, so there are 6, Goldie?
I don't think he's on anymore. I think he got booted off
Okay.
because it showed him before, right?
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must have lost him.
Okay, there are 6 yeses, 1 no, the the dress policy passes.
Can't let you leave smoothly. I'm sorry.
And the next is a first read of the policy for equitable identification of gifted and talented students.
Yeah, it's just the first read for the board. We'll continue the second read in August, and it's a new policy that is directly from Shipman and Goodwin. So it's currently a model policy, and if there's any adjustments or changes, we can discuss them at the next meeting or the subsequent meeting when it's up for approval. So,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
We've talked about like CLP and all that before, but I remember the state was also changing some of the.
This is in.
That's part of this?
Yes.
That's
exactly.
part of the state's changes?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's,
Next, we go to staff communications. Can we have the Director of Finance Operations and Human Resources, Howard? Give your report.
So the budget, thank you. As you can see, the budget continues to remain on track with spending in line with last year. Just a few items of note, as we discussed in the last meeting, overtime. This area has been hit very hard. Currently, as of today, it's over by $61,000. Again, and I think it's probably gonna go up by probably about another 20 to 25,000 through the year end. And again, this has a lot to do with, we have a lot of custodians who are out. We have 4 of them out all at once, and so we have to cover for that. So there was custodians covering all the different schools. So that's the primary. The secondary happening is also that because of the, as I mentioned before, bus monitors or lack thereof bus monitors, we're having the paras cover for them, and so they're having to work overtime on that side. So this was totally unexpected. This year, again, I think next year should go back to be hopefully a normal year. You'll also see that in the budget, the medical insurance went into a negative position. That is a miscommunication on my part to my staff. I was sending the funds over to the town, expecting them to pay the expenses out of the town fund, which is our reserve fund, and they were actually paying them out of the operating fund, out of the operating budget. So there was a mismatch there. That stopped. It won't happen again, but I just want to let you know that. But what ends up happening is we ended up funding the medical reserve an extra $100,000 this year is what happened. So that sort of helps us with that $600,000 hole in the gap that we have for next year already. So, and we were able to cover the extra $100,000 in the budget this year, so that's not a problem. So that worked out. And then the final, the other one that went negative this one was the heat and natural gas, and that's directly due to the longer, cooler spring that we had, having to run the heat for a longer period of time in all the buildings. Plus, combined with that, the natural gas prices going up. So it went negative. It's probably going to go a little more negative, because we have 1 more month left to pay it off. But again, we're not using natural gas as much now, so it should be more in line with the normal amount. So I'll ask if there are any other questions.
Have we, maybe go on for others, but with the increase in gas right now, we locked into anything for next year for oil, gas?
So for the gas for the buses, we are on the state contract, which is the lowest possible price you can get. You can't lock into it, but it's the lowest possible price you can get, because the state's buying hundreds of thousands of gallons, we're buying 90,000 gallons. So, but we've locked into their pricing. And that we get that directly. But again, as I discussed, I think way earlier when we were talking about the budget, I had budgeted at, I believe it was $3.15 a gallon, and it's even higher than that now, right? So that's going to be a thing we have to watch going forward for next year, right now. And that's also causing a little bit of the negativity in the transportation lines, because we're having to pay extra for the gas. And that's where that falls in.
Before we go into other questions, may I have a motion to approve the monthly financial report, including the recommended transfers from June 2022?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Amanda?
Yeah, I do have some questions. On the custodial overtime, do we anticipate it to impact the next fiscal year?
No, so they're the two have come back already, so that it'll actually be a little lower now going forward. And then we're expecting the final 2 to come back by July 1st, so it should not impact us going forward.
And I know that we've had high overtime lines for the custodial staff previously. So would it maybe be beneficial, as we're doing the budget for 23, 24, to look at adding to staff there?
So currently we have 4 part-time positions, 3 are filled, 1 is not. That was part of the issue here that we had with the overtime, so we couldn't fill that position. I've actually done an analysis. Would it be better to take those 4 part-timers and turn them into full-timers? It actually would cost anywhere between $60,000 and $80,000 more to do that. Even if you take out the overtime that we would save, I put that number in there. So there's a definite cost associated with doing that, and I don't think it works for us at this time.
Cool. Love that you're on top of that. Thank you. Also, a few months ago, we had talked about maybe doing solar over at
And
Monowese?
Yeah, actually I had an update in my report.
Oh, nice.
Actually,
Okay.
I just got, matter of fact, I just got it today, so that we unfortunately did not get picked for that project by Pura, which is the entity that's running that. However, we're put on a wait list. And so what the solar company is telling me is that what ends up happening is over the next few months, the bids that they put out to all the projects that did get accepted will be evaluated, and they'll see if they can get their financing. And generally what happens, about 50% of those fail. So sometime around October, November, we should be able to hear back. And he thinks that at that point in time, we will probably be accepted and moved into it. So again, I will come back to the board before that, when I can get more information and explain the whole project again and make sure that everyone's on board with that.
And as we're going through, I think we had talked about this summer maybe putting together a subcommittee to look at elementary schools and maybe looking at renovations there. I'm wondering if I could just request politely that we look at alternative heating sources there, geothermal, solar, etc., to try to gird against volatility in the energy market moving forward. Just my hippie plug as we're going forward.
Anything else?
Questions? Can we continue on? 'Cause I have some
Yeah, you can
questions.
continue on.
Okay. I would just want to update, because one of the items we were talking about was the Everside Health Clinics. Right now, the contract between the Everside Health Clinic and the town and the Board of Ed, it's sitting with the town attorney, so that's still being reviewed by that. We have not moved forward on that yet. As soon as I do, I will report back to the board. I wanted to ask if there was any questions regarding the contract that we signed with the Team Connecticut Lax to use the fields for 3 years. Differential, I provided that in the report. It's only $543 per year, so it was inconsequential. We thought. I spoke to Patrick, so we thought it was a good deal to have the revenue coming in over 3 years. And then I just talked about the solar project. Then the reserve accounts, currently in good shape. Medical, we have 2.1 million, or 102% of our midpoint. Workers' comp is at $725,000. Our SPED, special education reserve is at $367,000. And our capital projects is currently at $514,000, with a projected balance after all the items that are going to hit through going forward will be about $178,000. So as we go through and progress through June, right now the budget sits at 1.3 million budget to positive. That's definitely going to come down from there. It's not going to end there at all, especially with all these increased expenses that are coming from overtime and things like that. I don't know a number right now, but anything that is excess, we'll look to put it either in, because we have that $500,000 gap for reserve in the medical for next year. That's going to happen. And I will also look for capital projects to get any other reserves, if the board is okay with it.
I do have one other question on the capital
Yeah.
funds. Where do we anticipate ending with our capital reserves?
That was the 178,000.
178. Okay. And that's approximately where we were anticipating ending as of the last meeting as well, right?
Correct, because that added
Thank you.
a few extra expenses.
Okay. If there's nothing more, I'll repeat again our motion. May I have a motion to approve the monthly financial report, including the recommended transfer from June 2022? We had a discussion, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Howard, I want to thank you. You came on the board and you were hired as our finance director, human resources director, and you have made it so much easier with your data, your spreadsheets, and explaining to those of us who are not in the accounting world exactly what you're doing, so I want to say thank you for that. It really helped me a lot. If you think about it, you would send them, and typically I wouldn't have any questions. Well, one, because I knew Amanda would be asking them, but secondly, it was just very clear, and I really appreciate all of that during my time. Thank you. Next, superintendent's report.
Thank you. So in light of Ms. Anderson's announcement this evening, I'm going to turn the beginning of my report over to Dr. Peters.
All right. So Anita, I was asked to say a few words about you tonight, but it truly isn't possible to acknowledge all you have done well on the board in just a few words. So I thought I would simply thank you, even though you gave a lot of thanks. We have a lot of thanks to give to you. So thank you for your 14 years of dedication on North Haven's Board of Education, 11 of which you served as board chair. Thank you for the hours upon hours you have dedicated to the students, families, staff, and community of North Haven Public Schools. Thank you for always, always, always putting students first. Thank you for always supporting our teachers and staff and recognizing their endless dedication and talents. Thank you for consistently supporting all aspects of education, including academics, the arts, special education, equity, diversity, instructional student supports, mental health, athletics, and student safety. Thank you for creating a professional and talented central office staff that supports and promotes the mission, core beliefs, and vision of the North Haven Public Schools. Thank you for creating a board that, under your leadership, has always been respectful of each other's thoughts and opinions and is dedicated to making student-first decisions, always. And thank you for being a friend to all. Thank you to your family for sharing you with us. And tonight we're joined by your husband, Rich, which you introduced to us earlier. Anita, in your honor, members of the Board of Education and Central Office staff have purchased 6 Nutmeg nominee books, one for each of our schools, and they're right behind us if you want to look at them. Inside each book is a dedication that reads, donated in honor of Anita Anderson for her years of service and dedication to the students, families, and staff of North Haven Public Schools, June 9th, 2022.
Thank you.
There are countless ways you have made a positive impact for our students, families, and staff. Decisions you have made, actions you have taken, and leadership you have provided have mattered to thousands of people, and most importantly, our students. We wish you nothing but the best as you turn your efforts to the North Haven Rotary and all of the wonderful things the Rotary does for our community. We knew you wouldn't be able to sit still even for just a minute. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words and the books. That's near and dear to my heart, so thank you.
Amanda? Did you have some words for Jen? No?
Oh, well, yes, Jen couldn't be with us this
Right.
evening, but I do want to say thank you very much to Jen as well for her years of service. Jen did serve on the board for 9 years, and, she also put students first, and we'll miss her very much as we move forward.
Thank you.
I'm going to invite, sit tight. So I'm going to invite Ms. Carol Ardito, our NEGA president, to come up and say a few words. Just sit down.
It's all out of order tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. As president of the North Haven Education Association, it is my distinct privilege of being the representative of all 306 teachers in the North Haven Public School District. It is my pleasure, Anita, to award you with a $500 donation being made in your name to the North Haven Education Foundation. This donation is on behalf of every teacher in the district. As chairwoman of the North Haven Board of Education, you have provided continued support and respect to all the teachers. Your leadership and devotion to North Haven Public Schools and to the teachers has been so greatly appreciated. You have given so much. This donation will provide a way for you to show continued support and dedication to North Haven Public Schools. We thank you for your service to North Haven Public Schools especially to all the teachers who work tirelessly to provide a solid education to the students of North Haven. Again, thank you so much, Anita, and it has been my personal distinct privilege to work side by side with you over probably the past 8 years to make sure that our district has provided what we need for our students. So if you'd like to come up and get. Well, that's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
I'd like to invite Dr. Daley up on behalf of the North Haven Administrators Association.
Ms. Bayakowski, would you join us? Join me?
Sure, I was right here.
Thank you. Anita, it is such a pleasure to be able to share some thoughts and regards with you here at your final board meeting. Is your final board meeting? I don't know if you have a few days left to do some good stuff in addition to what you've done, but in doing that, I have the pleasure of representing my friends in the District Administrators Union, and I know that our faculty and staff share these sentiments. Anita, you are a gem. Your steady leadership over the course of the past 14 years, 11 of those as chair of the board, has been a blessing. You have been a compass to the North Haven Public Schools, pointing us due North Haven. You have led this amazing board with grace and wisdom. Your tenure has encompassed the terms of 3 superintendents, and in each of those terms you have led with heart, with courage, and with good humor. The topic of your retirement has come up in a few meetings, and people are happy for you, but they're really sorry to see you go. And so some of the things I have heard said about you are, every time I shared something with the board, Anita has been incredibly supportive. She is savvy, sensitive, smart, so concerned about every person's interests and nature. I love her leadership. She is genuine, took time to build relationships, knows our staff members, always invited us to come and talk to the board. She's always very approachable and came to talk at our school about international business. She's made it a priority to visit the elementary schools and see firsthand the quality of teaching and learning that's happening. We appreciate her and will miss her. In some ways, now stay with me on this one. In some ways, a board chair is like the engine of a Cadillac. In both cases, tons of complicated things are happening, but somehow it's peaceful and orderly as you move forward. In both cases, that's no accident. Rather, it's the most desirable state of operations and the byproduct of real expertise. In the case of a board chair, it means that she's working behind the scenes by planning for success, anticipating and solving problems, and communicating effectively. In fact, that is one of your greatest attributes and something that we all love about you. You communicate in a way that addresses issues head-on while managing to build trust and relationships. One thing we all admire about you is that you have wielded the considerable power of your position so delicately. Instead of being an imposing figure, as you could have been, you've been an unfaltering ally. You ask probing questions, you absorb the answers, and you invite us to partner and plan to ultimately lead to a good solution. Rather than unloading the weight of the situation onto people, you take it on your own shoulders and you walk with us until we all get to where we need to be. Anita, I know that I am not alone among our administrators in having had to call you more than once at 6:45 2 days ago, or on other random times of day and getting the response. 6:35. Well, it's amazing that you know time so well, Anita. I remember that one meeting when you were on time. That was great. But the answer when you picked up the phone was, "Hi, Russ, what do you need?" And I also know that I'm not alone in knowing that would be the greeting, that we all know that students, families, faculty, staff, admin, and the broader community are always foremost in your thoughts, and that we would end the call as we did with your support and with a plan. So on behalf of every member of the Administrators Union, I want to know that you have left an indelible impact on North Haven Public Schools. Kudos on your decade plus of successful leadership. Thank you for partnering with us, and Godspeed in your work as Rotary President. And congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you, Ross.
I'm gonna have to live with when I go home.
Tell 'em you're a big
Thank you.
shot. You are.
Thank you, Patrick, Lawrence, and Brittany, and when I don't have my glasses on, Kristen and Chris, I saw it there, so thank you all.
Okay, it's my turn. I'm not standing up, I always sit here, so I think it's just normal that I should be here. For over a decade, Anita's compassion, knowledge, and student-first approach to chairing the board has been evident to our students, our teachers, our parents, and the entire North Haven community. She is leaving the Board of Education in North Haven Public Schools primed for continued success, and this is due in large part to her leadership. I'm not truly accepted that Anita has chosen to step down, but I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to serve as her superintendent while she was chair of the board. So Anita and I have worked very closely for the past 3.5 years. So closely that she is the most frequently contacted person on my cell phone. My wife is second, and I don't really think it's that close. But there was a time not so long ago where we spoke every day, often multiple times a day, for a span of about 20 months. And during that time, I learned a few things about Anita, some as a person and some as a leader. She always picks up the phone or shoots a quick return text, even when she is bogged down with the job that actually pays her. She has a knack for looking at all the sides of a situation and offering sound and practical advice. She values everyone. Sometimes she'll just call me to give someone in the district a compliment and ask me to pass it along. And that's it. No other part to that conversation. She truly listens. As simple as it seems, it's very hard to achieve. She doesn't appreciate being cut off by other cars while she is driving. And if you are on the phone with her when someone does cut her off, be prepared for her vocabulary to colorfully expand. But I do think this one says it all. She's here for the students. And honestly, I can't think of a greater compliment for anyone in education. Thank you, Anita, for your dedication to the NHPS community. You truly left your mark. So in closing tonight, I'm going to invite Mr. Hutton and the North Haven High School Choir to perform in recognition of Anita's departure. But I'd also like to thank our culinary students at the high school, our visual arts students at the high school, Carol Ardito, Diana Blythe, Tracy Planishek, and all the folks that helped put this night together. Thank you all. Mr. Hutton.
This evening, and congratulations, Stephen Paul, since the road home, the choir will be performing. It's something that's performed each year at the North Haven High School graduation. And the text of the piece speaks to a return home. However, the larger message is one of hope and confidence when embarking upon a new journey. The Board of Education offers our students a chance to thrive behind these doors. So just as this piece will see our students off next week, it is our honor to share it with you all tonight, as a gesture of gratitude and honor for Mrs. Anderson. Thank you for your service to our school and students, and thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
And I will turn it over to the North Haven choir students.
Tell me where There's no voice I can hear that will lead me home. Rise up, follow me, come away is the call. With the love in your heart as the only song, there is no such beauty as where you belong. Rise up, follow me, I will lead you home.
I see Ms. Blythe here, and I just want to thank you and your students. What a surprise for Rich and I when we came up and saw my portrait and the other pictures. Thank you so much. When Ms. Blythe was asking me for pictures, I said, what does she want with my pictures? So in my mind, I thought, oh, maybe she's going to do a little video. But there was, the art department is unbelievable. So thank you all very much. And our chorus, I met a few of you on Tuesday of this week. Your voices were beautiful and touched my heart, and I can't wait to hear you sing next Friday too. Anyway, with that, is there any public comment tonight? Doc? Oh, Doc, go, my good friend. Yeah.
Doc Logan, 65 Hartford Turnpike. And I'd like to say just three things. One, I'd like to acknowledge the retirement of our current teachers or staff that are leaving. Lee Latta went from the middle school to begin teaching Chinese while also at the high school teaching math. And that's a lot of work when you're starting a program. And she has been wonderful. Annette Sauerbrunn, who I've always called Nursey, I saw up close how wonderful she was with students, both with medical issues and with emotional issues. And I always teased her about how busy it was during standard testing time with students with stomach aches and headaches. She took us through H1N1 and COVID, and she's also patched up and taken the blood pressure of teachers at the end of the day. I'd like to acknowledge Jen Ciccarelli for her work on the board. It was really a benefit to North Haven to have a teacher who's teaching in a larger urban area who's very familiar with the trends and the practices of education and how often they change. Okay, and lastly, I want to talk about Anita. We go back a long way. In fact, it occurred to me that we go back to last century. Yeah, I know. And with PTA Council, then on the board, and I echo everything everybody has said. And I'm just going to add to one thing, which I find is probably the highest compliment I could give anybody. You made a difference.
Thank you, Doc. Is there any other public comment tonight?
I just wanted to thank you also on behalf of the art department and every teacher I know for all your support. There are two students here. This is Jason Fahn, who's responsible for the infographic there and lots of other wonderful things, and he's been around a lot. I just wanted to acknowledge him
Thank you,
here.
Jacob.
And then this is Katarina Watkins, who made this painting right here, which is, I think, in some version going up in the admin building to replace a portrait of someone no one knows.
Is that when you get off the elevator?
Yeah, I don't know. So it's
Those who go up there know what I'm talking about.
well, Patrick mentioned it as well. So the frame is large for this purpose, but we'll get it framed at a smaller scale
Thank
for
you.
that. And thank you again.
Thank you again. I know we have a couple of things, but I do want to also thank Jen Stewart too. There were so many things throughout my time that I did not know about special education, special needs, and you explained it to me. Maybe sometimes I didn't agree, but you always explained it to me in a way that I could think about and make a decision, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, with that, we can adjourn. So may I have a motion to adjourn the June 9th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of Education?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Been
Go to the next
I played it hard.
Is there anything you want to say? No? Okay.
I've said everything to you already.
You have.
Oh, yeah.
Another texting friend. Anyway, again, I'm leaving this and telling you it has been absolutely my honor and my privilege. I've met so many people. Russ keeps me laughing, and his commitment to our students. And I'm going to leave with one thing that I have said to Russ before. Since I've been chair, which I did not realize was 11 years, I'm always on that stage with Russ when he gives the diplomas out, and I shake sweaty hands with him. And again, I have no, pre-COVID, I had no problems doing that. But I always remark to Russ what is the things that the students say to him. Not just our students who are involved in many things, but students who may have struggled, or students who probably graduated by the seat of their pants, or students who just, their appreciation and that love that comes from them to Dr. Dalai and to the school system, it's moved me. And I know I've mentioned it to you before, Russ, about that. And to me, when I saw that several years ago, I knew that North Haven is a wonderful town, and I'm very proud that both my children graduated from North Haven. So all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
If we're opposed, you get.
Thank you, Victor, for all your help and any.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.